and thanks once again for allowing me to share these moments with you at the beginning of a new day. Now we're looking once again at Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and what it is that he teaches us about living as citizens of the kingdom of God today. In particular today, we're looking at Matthew 6:19-24. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body, so then if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. I once worked for an audio-video installation company named Sound Advice. Now, many people apparently misunderstood the company name because we would very often get phone calls for some sound advice in a number of areas, like making investments, like buying a home or a car, or any area where some sound advice was needed. Well, this morning we're taking a look at some of the sound advice, the best sound advice for making solid investments. And we find no better investment advice than this, in that it has stood the test of time. So we all face two basic choices. We can invest in what we might call the World Bank, or we can invest in what we might call the Kingdom Savings and Trust. So let's take a look at what we can expect for a return on our investment. Well, in the World Bank, our deposits are subject to loss, namely from natural disasters such as moth and rust, and from theft, in that thieves break in and enter. However, at Kingdom Savings and Trust, our deposits are guaranteed. So the choice would seem clear, but it's amazing how few people see this very clear choice in life. The priority of making the right choice is punctuated in verse 21 that we read, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Our heart naturally follows what we value, so we must be very careful about what we value and invest in. Now, verses 22 and 23 that we read seem to have very little to do with investments, and yet they have everything to do with them. In that the eye is the lamp of the body, so then if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? The eye is literally the window to the soul. So sight, in a very real sense, is perspective. And when we have a burst of insight, we typically will say, now I see. So if we have the right perspective on wealth, we enjoy the light of the right perspective. Now, Jesus presents us with what we might call the law of love absolutes, in that no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he'll be devoted to one and despise the other. He categorically says you cannot serve God and wealth. So love for God and love for materialism are mutually exclusive. Again, to love one is to hate the other. They're like two magnets of the same polarity that repel each other. A key problem with materialism that it easily becomes an addictive drug. The more that we have, the more we want. And not only is materialism addictive, it becomes a throne of worship, and sadly worshiping at the wrong throne. So the only way out is to invest in the kingdom of God. And if we don't find ways to invest time, money, and energy in the things of the kingdom of God, then we're in serious spiritual trouble. So it's really not so much about how much or how little we have or don't have. It's really about what we're doing with what we have. Again, if we are investing in the kingdom instead of being sucked into the black hole of materialism, then we are honoring the Lord of all blessings, both material and spiritual. And that's sound advice for solid investments. So thank you for allowing me to share this time with you this morning. And may you be blessed in all the decisions and investments that you make today and every day.